Good morning, America, and good evening, India. Here we are for another episode of Corporate Spotlight with a veteran friendly company, Informatica Inc. It is a very special day where Vivek and I will be chatting with Jeremy and Jatin about the nuances and all things veteran hiring at Informatica Inc., which is veteran friendly and that is hiring veterans at the moment. To get the conversation started, let's bring in everyone into the stream. So here is my co-host Vivek, our first guest Jeremy, all the way from the US, and our dear friend Jatin here from Bangalore, all the way from India. Right, Vivek, a very fine evening and lots to talk about. So let's get rolling on this. The button is over to you, my dear friend. Let's get this evening started and let's get the conversation started. Thank you.
Thank you, Preeti. Uh, Good morning and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. A very warm welcome to all of you today. It gives me immense pleasure to announce the next LinkedIn Local India Online. The theme for today is Veteran Corporate Integration, Corporate Spotlight on Informatica. My name is Vivek Chadha, and I, along with Preeti Chaudhary, will be your host for today. We have a stellar panel lineup today, and I'm very happy to introduce them. We have with us Jeremy Bushaw. He's the Vice President, Talent Acquisition and HR Analytics for Informatica. As the global talent acquisition leader, he's responsible for the overall strategy, including sourcing strategies, campus relations, recruiting, diversity, expatriate programs, branding, internal recruiting, competitor intelligence, employer of choice awards, and metrics scorecard. He's passionate about creating, leading strategic corporate talent acquisition and providing candidates a world-class experience. Jeremy comes with over a decade of recruitment experience and was previously the AVP operations at Crizeto, a leading healthcare software company, for majority of his career, where he was responsible for multiple roles in HR, like talent acquisition, operations, HR business partner. He holds a degree from Colorado State University. Welcome, Jeremy. We also have with us Jatinder Singh. He's Director Product Security and Cloud Sec Ops. His journey started around 15 years back. According to him, product security is as much about understanding and influencing people as it is about uncovering bugs. He is OSCP certified and has been featured on most prominent Hall of Fames: Google, Yahoo, LinkedIn, Twitter, Adobe, Diners Club, eBay, Amex. He completed masters from University of Glamorgan on systems and information security and completed schooling in the Air Force School. Welcome, Jatinder. Today is a special event where we'll be getting interesting insights from two of our very special guests from Informatica. I heartily welcome both of you and thank you for investing your time in joining us today. I also thank our audience for coming and participating in today's LinkedIn Local India Online and hope that you derive immense value from the same. Please keep your questions ready and put them in the chat box at the bottom of your screens. And without much further ado, I request Preeti to introduce LinkedIn Local to all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Vivek, for that. A very quick recap of what LinkedIn Local India is all about. LinkedIn Local India is a LinkedIn property. It is an online to offline meetup concept wherein members who are either connected to each other on LinkedIn or not yet connected to each other meet up to connect, communicate, collaborate, learn, and leverage from each other's successes and failures. In the last 9 months, the only change that has happened is everything is moved virtually. So here we are, as a result, talking to you from outside our screens in a virtual format of this very special LinkedIn Local India Online, veteran friendly hiring company, corporate spotlight on Informatica Inc. This initiative is all about bridging the gap between corporates and the readily available talent pool of veterans who have transitioned from the Indian forces, whether it is the Army, Navy, or the Air Force. The whole idea is to get dialogues and conversations started so that the candidates can meet possible hiring managers and recruiters, and companies can get to know of the availability of this diverse and deep talent pool. So, with that, it gives me immense pleasure to invite our first speaker for today, and that is none other than Jeremy, all the way from the US, joining us this morning. Thank you very much for that, Jeremy. And the stuff that I would like to sort of know from you, Jeremy, is all about Informatica's journey into this inclusion and diversity space. What is Informatica all about? What is the HR function looking at? What are the milestones? What are your plans in terms of hiring and all the rest of it? So it is over to you, Jeremy. Thank you very much and welcome once again.
Thanks, Preeti, and Vivek, thanks for the very nice introduction. You did a lot better than I would have done, but very excited to be here today. So let me start out with kind of what Preeti asked. Let me talk a little bit about Informatica. So for those who aren't familiar with Informatica, we've actually been around for 27 years, and we've been a privately held company for the past since 2015. And we've been on a very impressive journey from a hiring perspective in really the past 3 to 4 years. I would say ultimately with what's been going on for the past 9 months, it really hasn't gotten us down from an organization standpoint. So let me talk about Informatica. Informatica, we are the leader enterprise cloud data management organization with over 9,500 customers across the globe. And ultimately what we do from an organization standpoint is we help our customers with digital transformation on their data analytics journey. Like I said, we're based out of San Francisco, which is where our corporate headquarters is. But with all the growth that we're seeing from an India perspective, we're seeing a lot of growth within Bangalore, Hyderabad, as well as Chennai. But when we think about from a company standpoint, Gartner Magic Quadrant is really where we speak about the power of our products. We are the leader in 5 major Magic Quadrants from Gartner perspective. And we also have a significant amount of employee awards that we are recognized within the market, from Best Places to Work in Austin, Best Places to Work in Dublin, and then Computer World's IT Best Companies as well. I think people should know, a couple things that are going on. From a corporate standpoint, we do have a new CEO. He's a new CEO here, but he's not new to Informatica. His name's Amit Walia. He's been at the company for greater than 7 years, grown up in a product organization. And what's really exciting about 2020 here at Informatica is Amit's focused around innovation as well as around employees. We've from an employee standpoint, we've put a significant amount of investment into hiring this year. Right now has been the most open jobs that we've ever had at Informatica previously. We have over 300 jobs right now worldwide, with 200 of them focused within the Indian market. The reason why we have these jobs open is because for 2020 and beyond, our journey is focused around cloud first, cloud native. And ultimately, this investment is for us to accelerate our cloud roadmap so that we can be one of the lead clouding providers within the space. So that's from a hiring perspective. From an employee perspective, what we're seeing now that with Amit at the helm is highest Glassdoor rating. We're currently sitting at a 4.2% Glassdoor rating, highest CEO rating that we've seen. So Amit has been hyper-focused around employee experience, as well as driving employee-focused initiatives from a learning perspective, as well as from a hiring perspective, as well as from an engagement perspective. So Informatica is very focused around our most critical asset, which is our employees. Now to the topic that we're talking about today, why vets hiring. Ultimately, innovation is kind of in the bloodline here at Informatica. And what we've been looking at as the market gets more and more competitive is looking at alternative sourcing channels from a hiring perspective. Aditya Pal Singh, who runs my India recruitment team, has been always thinking about what is the next creative way to fold in hiring here at Informatica. So we have a lot of vets within the organization. We also have Jatinder, who's here to talk a little bit about his role within the security organization, but we have a lot of vets already within the organization. So we thought as a new alternative solution sourcing avenue for us was to start looking at vets because of the transferable skills that people learn within the the vets, as well as what we do here at Informatica. So that's why we're going down this journey. I think the other thing to speak about is diversity and inclusion. Although this has been a very important topic for a lot of other organizations out there, I would say Informatica, we are on this journey as well. Earlier this year, about Q3 of 2020, we hired a diversity and inclusion leader because of how important we feel from an organization standpoint, as well as from a board perspective. So we appointed Kristen Keene to run our diversity and inclusion strategies. And ultimately, this is taking a global view across the organization, region by region, of what is important from a D&I, but also from a belonging standpoint, because we know this does resonate well with employees. And so we are heavily focused on this in 2020 and for the future here at Informatica. Now, let me just take a couple seconds from a TA perspective and talent acquisition standpoint and just talk about what's currently going on. Like I mentioned before, a significant amount of hiring in India. The hiring is going to continue into the next year. This is something that we've been talking about, is heavy growth area within all the areas that we do hire in. So we predominantly are focused within the tech space. So this is anywhere from product managers, developers, security folks, as well as DevOps, all the way to all the different flavors from an engineering perspective. So we're going to be heavily focused in 2021 on accelerating our roadmap, but also we're going to be looking at our overall recruitment experience. Recruitment experience is top of mind from a candidate perspective for me and Addie. So we're doing a lot of surveying of candidates to make sure that everyone that comes to Informatica has a world-class experience. We are also implementing a new technical coding assessment that we're piloting within our India operations. And the reason why we're looking at a technical coding assessment is ultimately to remove bias from the interview process, even though it might not, be intentional. But this technical assessment is going to allow for people's skills to shine through and ultimately go through a much more efficient interview process as well as selection process with Informatica, so that the quote-unquote black box that a lot of folks say about the recruitment process, this will ultimately speed up our process and make it a much better experience for our candidates as well. I would say in terms of other things, we do have a lot of different roles open from top to bottom, and we're hyper-focused on looking at hiring diverse candidates all across the board. We typically hire about 30 to 32% females into the organization. And I would say I'm going to be pushing the recruitment team this year to be able to do better, but also we're looking to add, diverse candidates into our, manager plus roles. So we do have a couple manager and senior manager roles within the development space right now. So would love, for diverse candidates to come out, take advantage of Informatica. And if you need a great way in the door, would be reaching out to Aditya, who runs the India recruitment team. So Preeti, Vivek, I think I got most of my topics. I'll pass it back to you guys.
Thank you very much for that, Jeremy. And quickly reiterate the important points here. India and America, if you're listening, Informatica is hiring 300 plus open roles. Veterans, especially Indian veterans, if you are listening in as well, please parse your resume, transfer your skills to the job requirement skills, the open job requirement skill. Talk to the hiring manager at Informatica. See how your skills can be cross-referenced and leveraged to the existing skill sets that are needed at Informatica. Women technologists, if you are listening and tuned in out there, Informatica is hiring about 40% women STEM candidates as well. So those are the salient points. Thank you very much for putting light onto such important aspects of the entire hiring aspect at Informatica at the moment. Thank you. With that, I move on to Jatin. Jatin, from the forces background, from the technology background, worked across the board with veterans before as well, along with all kinds of people. Your 2 cents on the topic for today, please, especially from inclusion and diversity perspective, veterans, male veterans, female veterans, women in STEM, and women technologists, and so on and so forth. Over to you. Thank you.
Thanks, Preeti. Seems like Vivek and Jeremy have actually covered most uh, most of what I wanted to talk about. Vivek's done a great job introducing me. Jeremy's done a stunning job talking about Informatica and why diversity manage why diversity actually matters so much to Informatica. Just a couple of points there from my end. So now, what we strongly believe at Informatica is that diversity is the art of thinking independently together, and Informatica thrives on its whole focus on creativity, innovation. So now, Jeremy just mentioned that being the size of a company that we are, we're probably around 5,000 employees across the globe. We still lead. We are the top rightmost in the leader quadrant of five Gartner quadrants, right? So if you actually compare those five quadrants to the size of the company, there is a big mismatch there. Quite a small company still managing to lead five Gartner quadrants. Um, and the main reason why we end up managing and leading those five Gartner quadrants is because of the complete focus on innovation and on creativity that we have at Informatica. And as I mentioned earlier, diversity is the art of thinking independently but together. Without diversity and the focus on diversity, we probably would not be where we are today. Of course, we still have a long way to go. As 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 Jeremy mentioned, he's got his being from HR, Jeremy has his own targets around diversity. But then for someone like me who heads security operations, again a very creative field. Now just to run some numbers by all of you. Uh, so if I just look at my last month's numbers, since we end up monitoring so much of our AWS traffic that closely, we probably transferred around 5.7 petabytes of data last month. And that's 5.7 petabytes of data. That's almost 120 terabytes of data a day. And this 190 terabytes of data a day equals to around 8 trillion transactions a month. So from a security perspective, I am expected to I wouldn't say me, my team's expected to monitor and secure 8 trillion transactions a month. Not at all possible unless I have a really diverse team. Plus, Informatica has this whole focus on having small, nimble, creative, innovative teams. I don't really have a large team to monitor this 8 trillion transactions, and hence the focus on diversity, creativity, innovation. That's the only way I see us managing this going into the future. And from what I see, we've just started off on this whole journey, and not just the journey of diversity, but even the journey of Informatica probably growing and really booming to a much larger scale. So we're already monitoring 8 trillion transactions a month. A year down the line, imagine the amount of monitoring that we end up doing from a security perspective. So how do we do this? Diversity, creativity, innovation. So that's sort of the mantra of uh, of our team here, and not just my team. Probably most directors and VPs at Informatica end up doing what they do brilliantly because of these three fundamentals. So let me just also give a very quick brief on the team or the org structure, but from a information security perspective. So we have two major verticals within InfoSec at Informatica. One is the enterprise security, which looks into, as the word suggests, enterprise security across all our IT and development centers. We have 7 large development centers spread across the globe. And the cloud security team, which I am part of, we are focused only on securing all the 3 clouds where Informatica hosts its SaaS products. That's across AWS, Azure, and GCP. We have a security operations team, which is responsible for the protect, detect part of it. Then we have a then we have a governance and compliance team. We have a security engineering team. And one interesting fact about our whole cloud security team is that most companies, if you see an infosec team, you'll have a large operations team and a very small engineering team. It's exactly the opposite at Informatica. So our engineering team, our security engineering team, is more than double the size of my security operations team, and that sort of again gives you a very clear example of the focus on engineering, innovation, creativity. We very firmly believe that if you've engineered something the right way, you will spend much less time than managing it in the operation space. I think I've spoken most of the points. Anything else you want me to cover here, Preeti?
I'm sure we'll take it up in the questions, but thank you for that. It gives a very
Cool.
sort of detailed overview of what you are looking at in your particular vertical and domain. And I'm sure there are quite a few cybersecurity sort of specialists out there, especially in the Navy and the Air Force side of the forces, where those skills can be transferred onto existing sort of JDs of open positions here in particularly your domain, to begin with. So thank you very
Absolutely.
much. A quick reminder to everybody that's tuned in today. Your comments and questions are very welcome, like Vivek said, because if you have anything, please don't be shy and ask away by putting them into the comment section of this LinkedIn Live, which is a corporate spotlight on veteran friendly hiring Informatica Inc. today with Jeremy and Jatin. Please don't be shy. All those questions and comments into the comment section of this LinkedIn Live. Vivek and I have our own questions, which we will start in a bit. But if you don't ask, the answer is always no. So please make sure you put them right there. And with that, I think we've had an overview and a perspective of where we are headed in terms of from the HR side and also from the tech side of it. Vivek, it's back to you. I know you have a couple of questions, and then I will chime in as well when once you are done. So thank you very much, and it's over to you.
Sure. Thank you, Preeti. So I'll get started with my questions. I got these questions from two people. The first question is, Informatica, as I heard, Informatica is doing pretty well. Um, uh, but when we compare this to 2021, how do we see the growth prospects in the IT industry, specifically in the sector in which Informatica operates? Jeremy, if you could, answer this.
Yeah, so I think as we think about 2021, I think we're going to have a very high growth 2021 for the organization, also from a hiring perspective, and really it's twofold. I think with all of the stuff that came with the coronavirus and COVID-19 has really created a lot of virtual demand for the organization as well as for our customers to be able to transform digitally with their data analytics journey. So I think there's going to be a significant amount of growth on that side. Now, from a hiring perspective, we're going to see really significant amount of growth. And ultimately, all of this growth is going to be focused around our cloud first, cloud native journey that we're currently on. And ultimately, it's all focused around innovation and our go-to market. So I would say probably 50%, if not more, is going to be focused around innovation, because that's what we do from an organization standpoint. We innovate to make sure that we continue to lead the Gartner Magic Quadrants and be the best products within the space. And then ultimately on the go-to-market side, you will see a lot of hype around, around hiring within the go-to-market space as well. So that's where I think, if I were to think about it, hiring is going to be more than we did this year. It will probably get back to our normal, which is probably about 1,600 plus hires across the entire year. So it's going to be a busy year for us.
Very interesting, Jeremy, there, and I hope you are able to meet all the demands that the market is asking you to. Interesting. So I'll move on to the second question, and this is for Jatin. So Jatin, from this comes from a veteran, and they're asking how should they prepare themselves to enter the industry in which Informatica operates, coming from a veteran background, and also, what has been your experience, in this context when you have hired veterans? So what have you seen, works very well, and as a veteran, what kind of preparation they should do to come in behavioral as well as technical?
Right. So from a behavioral perspective, so now what the most interesting thing that I've found, and the reason why I've always been obsessed about working with veterans. Almost every team that I've worked with in my last 3 orgs, I've had veterans in my team. I I did keep speaking a lot on the word diversity. I think veterans bring in that very different approach to solving problems. Most of us in the corporate world seem to have a very traditional and a generalized way of looking at problems, solving problems. Veterans are come from a very different mindset. Their whole way of solving a problem, approaching a problem, the whole focus on teamwork. So that's been one of the reasons why I've always been very keen to have veterans in my team. From a getting yourself ready to work in a corporate environment, I feel veterans are already, I mean, much more ready and much more prepared to work in a corporate environment than probably most of us are. But probably at the risk of sounding arrogant, I'm going to say this, that they they just probably need to reprogram their minds more from very simple operational hygiene things, uh, something as simple as calling a person out by name. I've worked with some veterans in the past who didn't really have who didn't really preferred being called by their name. They still expected to be addressed by the rank, uh, which which probably makes sense from working in a very defense sort of environment perspective. But then when you're working in corporate, the whole culture is calling each other by names. It's these small things, I think, if they can just reprogram their mindset and be much more open to working with people of all levels. I think these small things are all that you need to prepare for. Otherwise, veterans are pretty well groomed, pretty well prepared in the Army, Air Force, Navy, wherever they come from. So the larger challenges, I'm pretty sure they are very well prepared to handle the larger challenges. It's just the smaller things where probably they need to reprogram their mind a little bit. There, Vivek?
Vivek is here. Vivek, back to you.
All right, thank you. I heard most of it. Thank you, Jatin, for those brilliant points, and I hope it helps all the veterans there. And thank you so much. Those were my questions. Preeti,
Okay,
over to
thank
you.
you. And I do have something, Jeremy, for you to begin with. You come from a country which has a very robust veteran hiring sort of a legacy and a program. Even from the Department of Defense, you have the Skill Bridge sort of support program. There's a lot of sort of benefits in terms of monetary benefits and so on and so forth that is happening in that country. And I'm sure as an industry leader looking at different domains and corporates around you, what according to you um, are the sort of skills, and I'm talking from leadership side, I'm not talking from say particular technical skills, but from the mindset, from leadership, problem solving, and all those skills, what are those transferable skills that the veterans can bring to the table when they come to Informatica or go to any tech company for that matter? What do you think about that, please? Over to you.
Yeah, so I think when I think about transferable skills, and when I think about what's success here at Informatica is, I think the ability to work with people. Like Jatin said, is his team's not very big, and I think what really thrives here at Informatica is individuals that don't mind to roll up their sleeves, and ultimately be very hands-on. I think we're going to be hitting two very important milestones coming January 4th this year. Is we're going to be hitting 5,000 employees worldwide, 2,000 employees within India. So I think it's from a leadership and mindset, I think it's commitment to doing good is one thing here at Informatica that we think about. With veterans, they're very committed to kind of the end state and solving problems. That's what we do from an organization standpoint. So I think it's the obedience to continue to focus on tasks at hand and how to innovate within the organization. That's where I kind of think vets kind of play a good area. And as we think about the long-term journey with Informatica as it relates to vets, predominantly within India, hopefully, from a milestone perspective, I would hope within the next, couple months, we hire, a batch of vets as well into the organization. But as we continue to evolve and get more exposure to new vets coming into the organization, love to see kind of, a training program in order for individuals outside of Informatica to get the transferable skills as it relates to development skills, as well as product specific things, because that's typically one of the challenges that we see when we look at the external marketplace. Preeti, hopefully that helps.
I'm sure it does. Thank you, Jeremy, for that. And the next question is also for you. Anushree VN wants to know, is Informatica hiring veterans across all the levels, right from the juniors up to the leadership level, please?
Yeah, a very great question. And I would say hiring, we don't discriminate across the board. All levels are open for various, all the way from, freshers within the organizations, all the way up to, our senior manager roles that we have open. So, as long as, individuals meet the criteria of what we are looking for from a culture fit, as well as from a technical fit, we will consider all vets into the organization.
Right. Thank you very much. And Jatin, let me address this question to you first, and I will have to go back to Jeremy as well because it's like two parts. Here is Kanishta Kapoor going with, and Jatin, why I'm coming to you first is because this is from the grounds up level. From the HR side, I will get the viewpoint later on, but Kanishta wants to know, is there any specific training given to veterans or will there be any specific training given to the veterans on the job training when they will join Informatica? Your views, please, Jatin?
So now, I probably don't have a yes or a no answer to that. So now the way we sort of do our hiring at Informatica, we're not looking to hire someone who actually fits the JD word to word, right? So I think what we look more at is not just the technical aspect of this. Technical aspects are something that you can pick up all the time. But what we look more is that person a cultural fit to Informatica? And as I just mentioned, we do believe a lot in the culture of diversity there. So is the person a more a cultural fit? Does it fit the attitude of the team? So that's where I put more stress on whenever I'm hiring someone. And most of the people that I've hired in my team probably end up spending at least the first 3 to 6 months getting trained or getting retrained. So any background that you come from, there will obviously be a decently long period where you will be trained or you will be retrained. Now, if the question was specifically for a technical skill, yes, of course. There's absolutely no reason why, if you just probably fit 20 to 30% of the JD and the remaining 50 to 70%, you join the team, you get trained, you get retrained, and then you sort of grow into the role rather than us expecting you to be 100% fit for the JD. And yes, we do have plenty of trainings across Informatica all year round. And I do have a decently large training budget for my team too. So from a training perspective, there's never a shortage of capital, at least.
Right. So, to me, it is obvious that whether it is a veteran or any other professional, any new joinee for that matter, will definitely get on the job training or hand holding training to sort of bring them up to speed. If they were hired at 80, then the 20% rest of the skills will be sort of brought up to speed via training. If they were hired at 70, the rest 30% would be sort of brought up. And that's irrespective, that's across the board. That's got nothing to do specifically with veterans, but any new hires. That is what I understand from you, Jatin. And let me take this question to you, Jeremy, from an HR perspective, please. Will there be any sort of a boot camp or anything to sort of handhold specifically the veterans when you will go down or start this journey worldwide into hiring veterans at Informatica, please?
Yeah, so I think just to build on what Jathan was saying was, we offer training and onboarding to everyone that comes into the organization. So I think, as we think about Informatica from an HR perspective, we're heavily focused on continuous learning so that we can continue to be the leader within the space. So there's a significant amount of product-specific training, on-the-job training, as well as technical training. We have a huge catalog of technical training courses that we offer to all the employees. So I think where we think about this from an HR perspective, successful onboarding equals successful hires, which equal successful careers here at Informatica. So that's why there's a significant amount of investment around training and career development so that we can keep people here through the course of the journey. Now, in terms of veteran specific to your question, Preeti, I would say right now we don't have a specific boot camp focused around vets hiring. But as we continue to see more and more vets come into the organization, this will be a good learning opportunity for us to be able to assess potential gaps when people do come on from a particular demographic or particular, vets program, for us to be able to assess and figure out if this, as this is an area for development. That's the nice thing about Informatica. We are very nimble. We're very innovative. So if we, start hiring more vets, it's very easy for us to be able to put together a specific program to ensure successful onboarding and success of the future.
Thank you very much for that. Yeah, please.
This is one thing I'd like to add here, Preeti. So I mean, I've worked with veterans in the past. I've hired veterans into my team in the past. I mean, all of us have experienced this, that it's very difficult to leave a great school, right? I mean, during our childhood days, school days, college days, we've all experienced this. And there is, I mean, I believe there is no greater school than the defense establishments. So when you have a veteran leaving such an amazing school and moving into the corporate world, it is a hard thing to do. It's I've seen even the smartest and the best of veterans actually have that hangover. So it is a very hard thing to do, and I think most of us are very aware of and very conscious of the fact that these guys and this women are leaving such a great school and then are coming over to us. But as Jeremy mentioned, we don't have a boot camp sort of something ready for the veterans right away. But we are aware of the fact that, and we sort of try to make Informatica also greater, I mean, at least an equivalent school where you do learn a lot of things once you're here too. So that probably, I mean, at least that much we are aware of, and that much we do try to accommodate and work with the veterans.
Thank you for those amazing inputs. And I, for one, am sure that, there are many a cards up Addy's sleeve. So you never know. Adityapal Singh might just come up with something, and, we don't know about it now, but maybe we'll get to know about it in the near future. Who knows? So, Vivek, before I pull up another comment and a very great, very good feedback actually from one of the viewers here, do you have any other questions for the panel, Vivek?
Not as of now. Bring up the question. Bring up the comment.
Okay, right. Okay, so here is Mr. Amit saying, my son got interviewed at Informatica. In fact, he is getting hired there. His experience was great, especially since some senior guy took the HR round. He put him at great ease and a great discussion. So there you go. Great job, guys. Well done. Let's keep doing like this.
I think this great comment, brings us to a point in my mind which we can discuss is about the culture at Informatica. If Jeremy and Jatin can bring out a few points as to how do you drive the culture both from hiring perspective as well as the engineering perspective, managing teams. I think it'll be great input for all our audience.
John, you want to go first?
Sure, Jeremy. So I think I did sort of talk a lot about this in my introduction itself. So from a culture perspective, as I said, Informatica is very, very innovation focused, creativity focused, diversity focused. I mean, as I said, you can't have creativity or innovation without having the right amount of diversity in every team. So from the fundamentals of culture, there, these three to me are the three biggest reasons why I'm still at Informatica. I mean, I haven't been here too long. I've probably been here around 18 months so far. But I've had zero attrition in my team in the last 18 months. So 0% attrition in 18 months, especially in a field like security operations, right? It's a very happening field, very in demand field. People leave jobs all the time. So I think it's these three sort of the focus on these three fundamentals, and we sort of call our team. I mean, I'm not. I wouldn't. So we call our team a democratic team. So a lot of focus on diversity as well as on democracy. Everyone's treated the same. Could be. I mean, I I'm a director, but I don't have the right to force um, my decisions on my team at all, and my VP doesn't do that to me either. I'm sure his boss doesn't do that to him. That sort of flows in the organization as such. So to me, it is democracy, creativity, innovation, diversity. So these sort of are the really core principles that have kept me hooked to Informatica. Over to you, Jeremy.
Yeah, so I would say a couple things. I would say one thing from a culture standpoint that really rings here is employee centric. We are heavily focused around our employees, and kind of speak to what Jatin thinks. It's really, and it's going to be the cliche thing for me to say is we have an open door, but ultimately our employees can be heard all the way up to our CEO. Very open culture, very open to innovation and hearing directly from the employees. So I think that's one thing. I think to just continue to tack on it is innovation. Is we're always striving to do better from a technology standpoint, but I would also say from an HR perspective. You know, we think about how do we delight our employees every single day. That's one of our top initiatives from an HR perspective. So we are focused on delighting our employees as well as delighting the experience that they're having from an HR as well as within the business standpoint. And then lastly, we are heavily customer focused, whether it's our external customers or our internal customers. I would say my team is heavily focused on delighting customers in two different ways, our hiring teams as well as our candidates, because we understand if we make a bad experience in either our hiring managers or our candidates, it's only going to resonate within the market's standpoint. So I would say amazing culture, very focused on innovation. And from a recruiting standpoint, our products help candidates come to Informatica. Being the leader within the space, it's a very easy from a recruitment selling standpoint. People want to join the leader within this space. So lastly, just to kind of close it off, Preeti, like I said before, we're hiring. Either connect with me on LinkedIn, connect with Aditya Paul Singh. We will make sure you have a great experience and come join Informatica. 2020 is closing, but we're going to have an exciting 2021 with lots of hiring in front of us. So thank you.
Wonderful points there, Jeremy and Jatin. Thank you so much. Last time I remember, in the presentation, we had spoken about a value wherein you were to take care of your team and question your seniors. It is very unlike, other organizations, but I think that is what it is about Informatica that attracts people a lot. So yeah, we really look forward to many people joining Informatica. Preeti, over to you.
Thank you very much for that, Vivek. And just to close off this conversation, we've had some amazing insights of the culture, the possibilities, the way forward, the starting of the veteran hiring program, the milestones that Informatica is looking at, the leadership position in its domain, particular career points in InfoSec and product security kind of domain, and various other open positions. Jeremy, to top it all off, may I request you to please make an elevator pitch of why people should join Informatica from a veteran standpoint, from a women's veteran standpoint, from women technologist standpoint, and for everybody else that is looking at jobs in 2021. Here is your 2 minutes or 3 minutes of elevator pitch. Please go.
First of all, so if you want to join the leader, like I've said multiple times, we are the leader within the space. As we think about where we are going and where the market is ultimately going from a customer standpoint, we are on a cloud-first, cloud-native journey. I think cloud has really been resonating the past 9 months as we've all been virtually stuck at home with COVID and everything that's going on in the world. But Informatica, we are growing. We've grown 3 straight years in a row, or at least every single year that I've grown, been at Informatica. We continue to hire. Our attrition rates continue to stay well below the technology average, and we've seen incredible low attrition this year. We are employee focused, and we're focused on innovation. So if you want to come have a lot of fun at work, learn a lot, and be challenged, Informatica is the right place for you to come join. And I guarantee that. So come join me and the team, really expand within the enterprise cloud data management space.
Thank you for that. And a couple of quick resources here for everybody out there. Please do visit www.informatica.com/careers/people. Please connect with Jeremy Bushaw and Jatinder Singh on LinkedIn. They are available. They are tagged on all the posts. Please reach out if you have any questions, queries. Veterans, ladies and gentlemen, women technologists, please also reach out as well. And with that comes the time to say first of all, thank yous to the audience for logging in, for spending your evening with us. Thank you to Jeremy and Jatin for coming and talking to us. Thank you to Echo Events for this live stream, my dear friend and co-host Vivek, and from all the 4 of us on this edition of Veteran-Friendly Corporate Spotlight on Informatica Inc. This is Preeti Chaudhary, Vivek Chadda, Jeremy Bushaw, and Jatin Singh saying, take care, and until the next time, be safe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great night.
Thank you. Good night.